Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. I'm back at it again here for a brand new movie review. So, I got the pleasure of being able to watch the new movie called Addicted to Fresno. Alright? The movie stars notable mentions Molly Shannon, Aubrey Plaza. The main two stars are actually Judy Greer. She last was played in Ant-Man. She played, I think, Paul Rudd's wife or ex-wife in that one, and then Natasha Lyonne, which I know her from a lot of different movies in the past. Like she played Jim's sister in All the American Pies. She was also in, what was the name of this older movie that I really liked? I didn't necessarily like it. I thought it was just really weird. But I'm a Cheerleader. Basically, the synopsis of that is kind of like she was dealing with her sexuality, and she went to this camp, I guess, for lesbians. It was really weird. It's really out there. But I remember looking at that back in like 1999. And then what was another thing she just was playing in recently? I think The Orange Is the New Black. She's the star on that one as well. I don't watch Orange Is the New Black, but either way, we're here for this. What did I think about Addicted to Fresno? Well, the thing that I realized looking at it is that the movie opens up with Judy Greer's character kind of basically laying the foundation for what the theme of the movie was going to be, which was that sometimes siblings bring you down, essentially. And like when I saw her kind of like going into the prison, which is the first opening shot of this, I was like, okay, so her sister, was a byproduct of this. But then I saw her kind of smile, so I was thinking to myself, okay, she's the problem child, And then sure enough, it gets to them opening at this Fresno Suites hotel, and it shows different like shots of like places like all over, that messed up, food everywhere, open condom on the bed, all these different kind of things all over the place. And I was like, okay, this is all setting for a motel, And then it gets to the point where you see the two connected sisters, which was the younger sister was named Martha, and then Judy's character was named Shannon. And I realized off the gate that Shannon was a very lazy character. Not just lazy, that she had some serious problems, And I was thinking to myself, I was like, yo, what is really her deal, Because every single time that there was something that was brought up, such as like, okay, what's going on? What do we need to do here? What do we need to do there? Like Martha was upbeat, she wasn't necessarily this uptight. She was kind of this weird, passive kind of like cuteness to her, But at the same exact time, I realized off the bait that she had a sexual orientation preference of females. Like she was a lesbian. And then like it went into realization that her sister was far more messed up. And I think a lot of it boiled down to their relationship with their parents, which that going throughout most of the movie, I don't know if it was addressed as well as it could have. There were certain key moments in the movie where it was like, okay, I see the weight of this connected to this. There was one point where they were fighting on top of a bed full of like sexual devices, which I'm not even going to go into why they were with that. But they basically were hitting and fighting each other, and basically like Shannon was like, yeah, you blame me for like what happened with mom and with dad, and basically Martha said, yes, I do. And that was the first time I saw like real, emotional connection when it came to this movie. But throughout most of the movie, I really did not like Shannon. It wasn't until the midway point that I realized that Shannon really had a serious problem. And you find out like in the movie that she has an addiction. Her addiction is not narcotics or drugs, it's actually sex. And so because of that, she had basically went into rehab. You find out later on that her therapist, her older therapist, which was played by, Ron Livingston. He plays the role of Edwin. If y'all know Office Space, he was the guy. Like, he was the coolest guy. But in this one, he's kind of like trying to help Shannon, but then trying to help himself because he's cheating on his wife, essentially. And so it's a lot of different things that are going on and shifting through most of it. Most of this that I've just kind of described to y'all, you can see in the actual movie trailer, which I've also listed in the description bar below. Can I recommend this movie? And what did this movie mean to me? Like, one thing I'll say is that by the end of the movie, there were certain things that I did see that, okay, they did touch on that and they did do a well job with it, be quite honest with. As far as execution, as far as not making it kind of like a dulled out kind of film, you know. But as I normally do, let's go into the visuals. What did I think about the visual scope and the process of how they made this movie? As far as like storyboarding, as far as like how it looked. I did not like the look of this movie. It looked B-roll, to be quite honest with you. Like as far as the cinematography in the beginning, the opening shots, it threw me off because when I started seeing, you know, them in the hotel, I was like, man, this budget is so low, you know, like I felt like it was kind of like a TV movie. Like, to be quite honest with you, I was thinking, man, this is something could be on Cinemax or could be on HBO, and as well as the processes behind like the sex and the different things that was going on with like promiscuity and like betrayal, all these different kind of things. Like, I was like, dude, like I don't want to see this next stuff. But I mean, it's implied. It's not necessarily complete nudity necessarily, but you do see like a lot of sex that's going on. You do see a lot of like words that are put out there. I mean, this is not something that I would see in like a film that was like in like, I don't know, like going to AMC, for instance. I would probably watch this maybe on like Netflix necessarily. But as far as like the scope of it and how it looked, I didn't like the look of it necessarily. Matter of fact, I felt like looking at it, and then by the midway point of the actual movie, I kind of felt to myself, I was like, man, this would be so much better as a TV series, more so than dragging this out to be a whole movie. Because by the midway point of the movie, I realized, like, man, there's more depth to Shannon. Man, there are more problems with Martha than have been necessarily addressed. Because she starts interacting with a character by the name, what is her name? Aubrey Plaza's character, I forget her name. What was her name? Kelly. And Kelly is her hand-to-hand combat trainer. So and it's like the chemistry, the body chemistry, and the connection they would have. I was like, wow, this is actually playing out really well. I was like, I could see them kind of getting together. But then I was like, every single time it was kind of going there, I was like, why is Martha not there? And, you know, like I was thinking maybe she likes guys and she's confused or something like that. But how it all folds out as far as their arc, that was one of the stronger points of the actual movie, as well as one of the more entertaining things. Whenever Shannon was up there and you started talking about like what her addiction was stemmed from, that was when, okay, I could see where there are real things where they're trying to touch on, like this is a real problem. This is real issues that she's kind of having. But both girls, by the end of the movie, do get that addressed. So as far as the cinematography, as far as the look of it, I did not like it. But as far as the acting, let's go into that. So as far as the performances are concerned, I don't know. I don't think I think that the characters were played well for how they were written. I could see like the way that this was actually written, as far as the way it was trying to be portrayed, is exactly how it's executed. I think that this was not by mistake. Not just that, like I've seen both of these actresses actually go on a deeper level, you know. And so it's to watch this, I was like, it could be a lot better. But I did enjoy certain characters. Some characters I will mention. So one character by the name of Eric. His name is Malcolm Barrett. I thought he was actually hilarious because he was one of the guys that was actually working in the suites, and he actually has a good friendship with Martha, but his connection with Shannon is so funny. But it's actually really progressive. It's actually, I like the way that it kind of unfolded, because at first they really didn't like each other, and then you start to find out like he doesn't like Fresno. Like he doesn't like necessarily his life, but the way he has an outlook of things is healthy for Shannon. It's a good environment. And so instead of them fighting, clashing, like you see them starting connecting. And I thought he was just hilarious. There was one point he was like worried about her because she started drinking something. He's like, get that mess out of here. And she's like, I'm not addicted to alcohol. Like, I'm addicted to sex. And I was just like, gosh, it was one of the funniest moments. But anyway, another character I will say was, shoot, man, I like Aubrey Plaza, man. I'm sorry, I got a huge crush on Aubrey Plaza. I might be biased in this, but I thought that her portrayal of her character, Kelly, like, she was kind of like pining over Martha the whole entire time. But at some point, like, they do have it out, like, do you like me, do you not, you know? And she kind of puts everything to the forefront, and I like the way she kind of presented. Because if her character was pining over Martha the whole entire time and not, like, executed like, look, this is the reality of the situation, then I kind of would have been like, yeah, her character kind of fall back. But I actually enjoyed her character. Every time she was on the scene, I thought she was really cool. Then there was another character by the name of Noah, who's actually a part of the actual, he's a part of the group that Aubrey Plaza was actually working with and training. And he was always there for Martha, and they actually had like a bar mitzvah for him. In his bar mitzvah, like his rap, it was so cheesy. It was so cheesy, but it was actually pretty funny. I like the way that they did that. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Not just that, there was another guy, there was an Arab guy that he was in like one of the rehab sessions that Shannon actually went to. And his his experiences that he had with his addiction, I thought that was actually really funny as well. So there were really good comedic moments, but it was like, it was circumvented for a whole bunch of like fluff, and it was just like, I don't know, like it felt so cliche. Like when the process of, when they first start interacting, Martha and Shannon, and you find out Shannon is really bringing her sister down. Like her presence there is really bringing her sister down. It's just like, it gets really annoying because Shannon does this after this after this. Like the way that she treats like Ron Livingston's character, I didn't like that. I was like, what, really? And then all of a sudden she goes and gets with this other person, and then she messes his life up. And it's like the means that Martha has to go to try to protect her sister, it's so messed up, you know? I guess that it's not meant to be likable, you know? It's meant to be like, okay, yeah, this person really has a problem. But the execution behind it just felt so cheesy. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything necessarily, but as far as how it actually played out, I was like, man, this is so cheesy. I could have done, like, I think at the point that they got to the coroner, the pet coroner, and the wife, Ruby, and then her husband, which they knew back in the day, I was like, man, this is a hot mess. It's like, it feels like the American version of Death at a Funeral at a certain point, and that's not a good thing. But after that point, and after the sisters really start to have this clash back and forth, you start to get that, okay, there's real substance to these characters. Like there's more that could be fleshed out. And that's why I said that this movie would have done better service as an actual TV show. Make these two characters the main characters and let everybody else flow inside the world. Make it like about 10 episodes tops, see where it goes. Because even towards the very end and what happens to Shannon and the way that the actions that she caused before, she has to reap all those, and rightfully so, and she acknowledges the kind of problems that she has because of what she was doing to her sister, that she could actually really see it. And notice that, I felt like the character Martha, the whole entire time, she's really trying to explain to her sister like how she's made her feel, and her sister couldn't get outside of herself to deal with that. But then there's a character, and I don't know if he was autistic, but his name was Jerry. He was the executive maid manager, and he basically kind of talks to the Martha about like the process of which, why does she feel as though she has to keep helping her sister, you know? And like, even though he's dealing with a mental disability, he was enough to tell her, it's like, it's not so much that you're trying to help your sister, you're not living your own life. You're not doing anything. You're using her as an excuse. And that's the same exact thing the character Kelly was trying to tell her. And I thought that was really cool. Not just that, there was another point where Shannon had went to her AA meeting, or actual addiction meeting, and she kind of just broke down, you know, and told him everything right then and there. There were so many different suggestive moments that you could tell like people were trying, you know, impart knowledge into them, and they were getting it, and I like that. I like that about the film. So did it make me laugh? Yes, at points. Did it gross me out and feel as though really uncomfortable? Because like I said, there's a lot of adult themed things. There are a lot of adult things said. This would have been better on HBO as a series, in my opinion. Yes, and that was part of the problem that I couldn't get with this movie on a deeper level, which I thought I might, you know. And then at the end of the day, what did I think of it as a scope of a movie? If I had to give it a rating from A to F as far as an actual movie, I'd have to give it like maybe a C-, because as far as the way it's supposed to be shot, as far as the way if this is an actual movie and it's meant to, you know, bring me into the fold of like this dramatic comedy with these characters, and even like if there's a death that happens in this movie, or if there's something that, you know, like really dramatic scene, like it's played, but it's not executed well, and it's not keeping me visual. That I mean, I'm invested in seeing like where these characters are gonna go. It was like the other characters that they're interacting with, other than the two sisters, that I enjoyed more than when the sisters were actually together. And that's not good if they're the main two characters. So unfortunately, I'd have to give this rating, man, I give it a 5 out of 10. I give it a 5 because I like the ending of how things were not supposed. I mean, it really didn't end well, but at the same exact time, they did learn something from it, and the execution behind that was actually done really well. But the whole first half of this movie and the interaction of the sisters, it just felt like fluff. I didn't really like it, but because I did enjoy part of the last portion of it, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. But hopefully you enjoyed this review, y'all. I think that's about all. This is Sam, JVS, SEL0320, signing out. Y'all have a blessed one. Take care. Look for more reviews to come. Peace.